That's a good one. This on, yeah? No? Maybe? Okay, very good. All right, well, I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm vacationing down in South Florida right now, and my wife, unfortunately, was pretty sick. She was supposed to be here, too, so she sends her hellos and is keeping her germs at home with her. But I'm excited for this weekend. I had a chance to be with Jimmy in the Northeast group. We had a ton of fun, and he asked if we would be willing to come down here and hang out with you guys, and I said, well, I'm already going to be down there, so let's do it. And I'm really excited about the format of this school because it's going to be a little bit different than a normal school that I do. It's going to be kind of more like a boot camp. You're going to get a lot of how-tos, what to do. So you leave here with a whole arsenal of things that you can take to get results across the kitchen table, across a recruiting appointment. And so I'm very excited about that. And by request, we're going to be talking about today something I call 5 to Stay Alive, which is what I teach my people to be able to sustain themselves full-time. How many of you are full-timers here? Okay. How many of you want to be full-timers? Okay, very good. So listen, I'm not a big cold prospector. I don't go cold prospecting. I don't teach my people to cold prospect. We don't pull resumes. We don't go to malls. We don't do any of that stuff. We do this, okay? And I promise you, if you learn this, okay, don't replace what you're doing. Add this to what you're doing, and you're going to have a lot of different results than you're having now, okay? So 5 to Stay Alive basically talks about having 5 renewable sources of people that you can continue to build your list with, right? Okay, because prospecting in the pipeline is step 1 in this business. If you don't have anybody to call, okay, you're not going to be on any appointments, you're not going to get anything done. So priority number 1 in this business is keeping the pipeline full, okay? And I teach my people, you need to have 1,000 people on your list all the time. How many of you, by a show of hands, have 1,000 people on the list? Like 4. Okay, so you 4 are going to be okay. Everybody else, you better learn this fast. Right? Because there's 2 Primericas you can be in. The Primerica where you have 1,000 people on the list, and this guy said no, and that guy no-showed, and this guy you can't get a hold of, and you're like, thank goodness, because I got 997 left. Or the Primerica where you got 20 people on your list, you've called them all 73 times from 4 different phone numbers. You're like, how will this ever work? Okay? How will this ever work? Okay, there's 2 Primericas. You can be in either. It's your choice if you'll develop the habits that a successful Primerica leader has, okay? Because listen, you don't create your destiny, you create your habits, and your habits create your destiny, okay? So don't be wishing for big success when you're not willing to put in the basic fundamental habits that you need to have to be successful here, okay? What are those? 3 to 5 new names and numbers every day, 7 days a week, till you got a ring and override income. Not a ring and override income. Then you can go to 6 days a week till you're making $250 in overrides, and then you can go to 5 days a week till you're making $500,000, and then you're free and you never have to do anything ever again. You can work 0 days a week, you keep a $40,000, $50,000 a month recurring residual income coming in. This is how you do this, okay? So I'm going to take you step by step. If we have time at the end, we might do some questions if Jimmy's okay with that. So 3 to 5 new names and numbers every day. 3 to 5 new appointments set every day. Every day. Those are the 2 most important things you could possibly do on a daily basis in Primerica. So the first thing that I ask people when they're struggling, they come to me, they're struggling, they don't have enough activity, they're not winning. So are you setting 3 to 5 every day? Well, are you getting 3 to 5 every day? Well, okay. Look, there's nothing you could do on a daily basis more important than this. If you do this, everything else in your career is going to work out. If you don't do this, nothing in your career is going to work out. Okay? So I don't know what you're spending time on other than this, but if you're spending time on things before this is accomplished, stop. Stop spending time on things other than these 2 things. Okay, until they're done. Once they're done, you can do anything you want to do. See, most people in Primerica and in life in general have this conflict going on all the time about work-life balance, right? You want to be balanced. Let me tell you how to have balance. Do this first and then do whatever you want the rest of the day. Very simple. This takes about 2 hours if you know what you're doing, maybe less. 2 hours a day of actual work, And then who cares what you do the rest of the day? If you have done this, everything else is going to work out, I promise. You could be mediocre at closing, mediocre at recruiting, mediocre at training. You're still going to build a great business because you've done the important things in enough volume that the business is going to take care of itself. Okay? So I don't care what you do. And I tell my people, right, people want to know, what's your office like during the day? It's probably humming all that. I'm like, the company called to do this base shop thing. I'm like, don't come to my office because there ain't nobody there. There's nobody there to film. Why? I don't care what they do all day. They don't need to come to the office. I don't care what they do. You do this however you want, and then you do whatever you want the rest of the time. Doesn't matter to me what you do as long as you do this. Why? I want independent, responsible people that know how to prioritize their time on the most important things, right? So we set a culture of that, and that's what we get. Now, does everybody do it? No. We have fool-timers too, right? F-O-O-L, right? We have those guys that they look out at 3 to 5 and they think they set 3 to 5. Well, I looked at doing it, right? Okay, you got to do it. But once you've done this consistently, how many days a week till you got a ring and overrides? 7. How many days a week once you have a ring and overrides? 6 till you got 250 in overrides. Then you can go to 5, and when you're at $500,000, you're built. You're built, okay? So that's how you do this. So 5 to Stay Alive talks about having 5 renewable resources of in-market people that you're cultivating relationships with so that you don't need to go out and find people, right? Okay, some of you be running into people at Target on the way out of this meeting today, right? Oh, you look pretty sharp. Let me tell you about what I'm doing, right? You're smashing your cart into everybody passing by like you're drunk driving at Target because you're trying to prospect people, okay? You don't need to do that if you'll do these things. And these things get you people that are a lot better quality, that do what they say, that are in market, okay? So you don't have to be out hustling like a mad person. Basic habits done daily are going to allow you a lot of freedom in this business, okay? If you don't get these habits down, you're always going to struggle. Your business is going to be an up and down roller coaster unless you get lucky. There's always stories about these people, right? The first guy they recruit's a multi-gazillionaire, right? Okay, and they have ride off into the sunset of Primerica. That's probably not going to be you, okay? But if you're willing to do this, it doesn't matter if it's not you. It doesn't matter, right? You're still going to win. I wanted a business that would win predictably, that was not personality-driven, but that was fundamentals and systems-driven, okay? So that's what I'm going to teach you today. So 5 to Stay Alive is 5 different sources of people that you've got to have on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis that you can implement that are going to bring new people to you, okay? So what is the first one here? Okay, one of my first ones was church. I went to church regardless of whether or not I was in Primerica. Now, some of you might not be churchgoers. That's okay. Go to whatever it is that you believe in, all right? But here's the nice thing about the church. You go to the church, and I promise you, on Sunday morning, there will be new people at your church that you didn't have to invite to come. They showed up all on their own. You didn't have to find them. You didn't have to call them, tell them, come to an op meeting, right? Okay, they showed up all on their own. Now, if you go to a church like my church, at some point in the beginning of the meeting, the pastor stands up and says, go say hello to somebody you don't know. The church leaders are encouraging you to prospect, okay? They're telling you, go find people you don't know and say hello. So what do? I find people I don't know and I say hello. Now, every Sunday, there's going to be new people that I didn't have to find. I was already going there anyways, and they're there. That is a renewable source of right market individuals. Yes or yes? I have to do nothing besides show up, and they're there. Okay? This seems very basic, but most people won't do it. So I had a goal of getting 2 to 3 new names and numbers a week at my church. I didn't go to church for names and numbers, right? But the people were there. They need what we do. They need an override income. They need freedom in their life. They need more financial responsibility. So I'm going to talk to them if I'm there and they are there, right? So the pastor's going to encourage you to go talk to somebody. So you shake their hand, you introduce yourself, right? And you remember their name. Step 1, remember their name. Okay, some of you have namesheimers. Right? They introduce themselves, and 5 seconds later, you've already forgotten their name. The truth is you didn't forget it because you can't forget something you never knew in the first place. You were so busy worried about what you were going to say to them, you weren't listening. Listen to their name. That is their favorite word in the English language. Okay? Listen to their name. Use their name a bunch of times, okay? So here's what happens. I look at 5 to Stay Alive as a farming process. A farming process, not a hunting process, okay? So I'm going to meet 2 or 3 or 4 people. And I'm going to keep my eyes on them, okay? And I'm going to see, all right, at the end of church, I'm going to go and I'm going to say, hey, Mike, listen, it was really nice meeting you. He's sitting there waiting for his kid. And I say, so, hey, how long you been in the area, right? And I start forming them. Family, occupation, recreation, motivation. I'm talking to him about his own favorite subject, which is who? Himself, right? And I'm asking about, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work for GM. Okay, great. In what area? Well, I'm an engineer. Man, what did it take you to be great at that? Right? And he's like, well, I'm inferring a compliment on him, right? He's telling me different things. Sooner or later, he's going to ask me what? What do you do? Okay, so I'm prepared. I say one of 2 things. I help people fire their boss, or I help people make money. Either way, it's going to kind of shock them a little bit. Say, well, what do you mean? And here's exactly what I say. Mike, listen, I'd love to tell you more about it at some time. I try not to mix business and church, but maybe we'll connect on it at some other time. Back to him. People are intrigued by what they can't have and what they don't know. See, most people in Primerica, the moment they ask, what do you do? Well, we're in financial services. We help people become debt-free, properly protected, financially dependent. And you're like throwing the whole tackle box at the fish, right? When you go fishing and a fish bites, what do? Pull it back. You don't throw your lure box at him, right? Come, I'm trying to catch you, right? Okay. So back it up, right? Just a little teaser, and then I talk more about them, right? And all they know is this guy is the nicest guy in the world. Why am I the nicest guy in the world? Not because I'm the nicest guy in the world, because I talk to them about what? Them. The whole time. Anything they ask me about me, I'd answer shortly, and then I talk more about them, right? So what happens is, before I leave, here's exactly what I do. Okay, so I'm with Mike. I'm about to leave. I say, hey, Mike, you got your cell phone on you? Great. I'm going to text you my contact info just in case you ever want to catch up. What's your number? Mike, Ian Prukner, nice to meet you. Send screenshot. Mike from church. So I got a whole list of Bill from church, Mike from church, Tim from church, right? In a month, if I've done this appropriately, I have between 8 and 12 in-market contacts. Now, I'm not calling them right away because next week when I see Mike, hey, what was your name again? Oh, it's Ian, right? He doesn't remember me, but I remember him, okay? And I just start building rapport with these people. Within a month or 2 months, I know 20 or 30 of them, right? Do you understand? Okay, and I start building a market in this way. Every week, new people are there. You don't have to find. They tend to be married with kids, homeowners, reasonable jobs. That's that demographic, generally speaking, not always, right? Okay, does everybody understand that? So that was one of my 5 to Stay Alive. I was going there anyways. They're going to be there anyways. Let me make friends. In a year, at 8 people a month, that's 100 people a year. How are you not going to recruit 4 or 5 decent out of 100 people that are in market that you see on a repeated basis? Well, I don't know who to talk to. Are your eyes open? There are people everywhere, right? Look to the left. Talk. That's somebody to talk to, right? Okay? So that's one of my 5 to Stay Alive. The second one is I'm a big proponent of a group called BNI. Justin was telling me that he was in one of these. So BNI is a business called Business Network International. It's started by a guy named Ivan Meisner. It's basically what's called a closed contact networking group. There are multiple chapters in every city, and there's one person per profession allowed into these chapters. They meet once a week, generally at 7 a.m. in the morning for an hour and a half. Okay? One person per profession. So I would always go in as the life insurance guy. Okay? You could go in as the investment guy, but it's not going to work nearly as well for you, okay? So you go in as the investment guy, the life insurance guy. There's no other life insurance guy in the group. No competition. And the group exists for business professionals to pass referrals back and forth to one another. That's the only reason the group is there. is so they give business to you and you can give business to them. Okay? So if I told you show up and there's 40 business professionals that's only job is to find you business, would that be a good thing? Okay? Then why aren't you in one of these? It doesn't make any sense, right? When I first started in the business, my mentor Assad was in one of these. He never told me about it, and one day he was talking about it. I'm like, well, how many deals do you think you get out of that? He says, I think I get 50 deals a year. 50 personal life apps a year out of that. I'm like, how come you didn't tell me about this? I immediately was looking for B&I groups the next day, okay? And I was in B&I groups for about 6 years, and that's about what I average, about 50 to 60 deals a year coming out of this. What if you could wake up tomorrow and know for sure you got $5,000 of personal premium coming in, for sure, no ifs, ands, or buts, it's coming in guaranteed, right? That's how you do that. You get into a B&I group, okay? You get into a B&I. So let me teach you how you do this. Number one, they're hard to get into, okay? Because we do a lot of stuff, right? We do investments and auto insurance and now health and all these things. Well, the auto insurance guy in the group, he don't like you. Right? And the Raymond James guy in the group, he don't like you either, right? Okay, and the health insurance broker in the group, he doesn't like you, okay? So there's about 8 guys that don't want you in there, so it can be hard for you to get in, okay? So I had to start my own, okay? Which, by the way, is even better than joining an existing one, okay? So how did I start my own? What you need to do is you need to Google, there's this thing called Google, some of you have heard of it, okay? Google BNI in the city that you live in, okay? And there will be a website. You go to the website and you click on starting a chapter. And there are these people at BNI whose only job is to start new chapters. They get paid by BNI to start a new chapter. So they want to start a chapter, and you want to start a chapter. So you two should work together to do what? Start a chapter. Okay, this is very, very basic. So here's what I would do, okay? One person per profession, right? Okay? So you need to find one other human being other than the B&I guy that wants to do this with you. So you need to brainstorm tonight. Who are people that I know that run small businesses that would like to grow their business by referral, that would want to be involved in something like this? Get one guy or gal who's willing to do it with you. Okay? And then what I started doing is I would look in the phone book, and we would isolate professions. So the best professions for you to have in that group are CPAs, estate attorneys, divorce attorneys, and mortgage people. Why? Every single client they have needs your services, and they know all about their finances, right? So you start building relationships with those guys. You help them understand the uniqueness of what Primerica does for the consumer. Those guys are great referral sources to you. Every divorce decree that divorce attorney does pretty much mandates one or both of them have what? Right? And that guy's quest to make a living, he's kicking up business for you. He just doesn't know who to give it to. He doesn't even really care until you're in his group. And it's beneficial to him to give it to you, right? Do you understand? So here's what I would do, Jehovah. I would get me and my guy, my buddy, right? We'd isolate. Today we're getting CPAs and mortgage guys. And both he and I would call every CPA and mortgage company with a last name in the title of the mortgage company. We didn't want big companies. We want guys that are running their own deals. Why? Because that's how they live, is off referrals, right? So we'd call and we get 10 or 15 of the same guy to show up. 10 or 15 mortgage guys. We say, guys, there's room for one. Anybody that's not serious, don't even bother filling out an application to join the group. Anybody that wants to be in, you need to put in an application today. We're going to call your references and sort it out. Right? So we get 5 or 10 or 15 of the same category to show up, and about a third of them would like fist fight each other to get in. Right? So then we found the best guy, the guy we felt like was the best fit. We'd get him in and the mortgage guy in. Next week, so now there's 4 of us, then we'd expand it. All right, we want this attorney, that attorney, an auto and home insurance guy, right? And we'd do that again. And within 3 or 4 months, we'd have 20, 30, 40 people coming to the group that are a part of that. Well, if you're the guy starting the group, everybody wants to get on your good side, yes or yes? You're admitting them into the group. Right? So you get tons and tons of business that way. tons of business. So here's what I'd say. I'd call up Joe Schmo, the CPA. So I'd say, is this Mr. Smith? Yeah, this is Ian Prukner. You and I don't know each other, but I'm a small business owner as well. I'm starting a referral group in my town, and we're looking for a qualified CPA who would like to grow their business by referral. Just out of curiosity, could you use more referral business? Generally, they'd say, yes. I'd say, great, we're meeting on Thursday at 7. Can I reserve a seat for you? Well, I'm kind of busy. No problem. Who do you know that might be looking to grow their business by referrals? Because we have referrals to pass. And generally, they'd show up. If they said they weren't interested, here's what I'd say. I'd say, Jehovah, listen, no problem. I know you might not be interested. Let me ask you a question. Would you be open to sitting down for a coffee? Because whether or not you're interested in my group, I'd still love to get to know you and see how we might personally be able to help each other grow our businesses. So whether they came to the group or not, I would get an appointment with them. You understand? I'll get to what we do there in a second. Everybody understanding this? So you start a BNI group, and virtually half, where's Justin? So half of the people in the group buy. So you got 40 people in your group. How many bought? 20. Laydowns. Now, are these little dinky apps or are these pretty big apps? They're pretty big apps. Why? Because they run their own businesses. They're not telling you, oh, I got group insurance from Ford. Right? They're running their own deal, right? And they tend to make reasonable money, okay, and good or bad quality business. Excellent quality business. Why? They run a business. These are people that have to make decisions, balance books. They're not your average Yahoo, right? Okay? So they're big cases. They stick. They're quality. And by the way, you're looking for people on the recruiting side of our business that are money motivated and willing to go to work to improve their life. Where is a better place to find these people than 7 a.m. in the morning trying to drum up their own business? Right? If you can get a couple of those guys on your team, okay, those 2 or 3 guys are worth 100 people you recruited out of the mall. End of story, right? Because they know what it takes to run a business, okay? So a BNI group, again, once a week, okay? So what happens is you write about half the people that join the group, okay? And then 3 or 4 of them will refer you business on a consistent basis. Here's the best part. Every week, once that group gets going, 2 or 3 or 4 new business guys show up next week, don't they? Because somebody invited their buddy who was the plumber because we had an opening for a plumber, or the lawn maintenance guy because we had an opening for a lawn maintenance guy. Every week, there's 2 or 3 or 4 new small business owners show up to that group. Did you have to invite them? No. The group encourages them to meet with you. It's called a one-on-one. They get points in the BNI system for meeting with you. Okay? Imagine you could give your prospects points for meeting with you. By the way, you get 5 points for having this meeting with you. Points for what? I don't know, but I'm going to give you 5 points, right? Well, in BNI, they give you points for meeting with each other, right? Okay? So every week, all I do is show up. I was showing up there anyways. Yes or yes? Right, I'm getting a bunch of business through there anyways. Yes or yes? All I got to do is show up. There's 3, 4, 5 guys who want to talk to me. There's 3 or 4 guaranteed appointments every week with in-market people that want to meet with you, that are in our target demographic. Okay? Good deal or bad deal? Good deal, right? Good deal. So BNI, I would net 3 or 4 people a week. I just get their card. I'd introduce, hey, I don't know you. I'm Ian. I started this group. Okay, great. Nice to meet you. What do you do? Perfect. Hey, listen, you and I should connect. I'd love to talk with you outside of this about how we might be able to help each other grow our businesses. You got to get that line down. I want to talk about how we might be able to help each other grow our businesses. Do small business owners want to grow their business? Yes or yes, right? Yes. And they're willing to talk with you about it, right? Because that's what they're used to. Okay. Third would be an open contact networking group. So BNI is closed contact. What does that mean? 1 person per profession. Open networking group means what? Multiple people potentially in the same profession. So you show up and there's other financial people there potentially, right? This is a chamber of commerce. This is a networking after work. Okay, what about Meetup? People ask me about Meetup. I'm not a big Meetup fan, okay? This is serious people, okay, come to this sort of stuff. If you got to pay to go, there's good people there. Well, it cost me $20 to go into that lunch meeting. Were you going to eat lunch anyways? Yes, okay. So $10 you would have spent on lunch, $10 you spent going. You got a half a dozen great contacts. How much is your time worth at the mall trying to find those people? okay, because they ain't at the mall. They're running their business, right? Okay, so open networking. I got connected with something called Motor City Connect. In every city, there's something similar to this. Okay, so Motor City Connect is a Detroit thing. They would meet every Tuesday for lunch. It was $20, okay, and it was good lunch. But every week there would be 20 or 30 business people there, and there was only 4 or 5 the same guys. Right, because they had them in different pockets of the city. So I drive 45 minutes one way to get to one of these at this corner of the city because that had different people there than the one over here had. But it happened every Tuesday. So every Tuesday, I still got it. It happens once a month. I haven't gone in probably a year, right? But every fourth Tuesday now, okay, I have a repeating calendar, Motor City Connect. It just jumps up, right? But every Tuesday when I was really building, I would go to these things, okay, and every week, 10 to 15 brand new small business owners that want to talk to you, right? They're telling you, introduce yourself, you get to give a little commercial, and what I would do is I would identify people that I had a synergy with, the mortgage guy, the real estate guy, the CPA, the attorney, this sales guy, that sales guy, right, okay? I wouldn't be, following up with the sales rep from the commercial cleaning company. He didn't care, okay? But the guys that own their own stuff, or the professionals, right, I would follow up with. So 10 to 15 brand new people every week, in market, making money. Everybody understand that? So what are we at right now? Total, every week, on the low end. So let's call that 15. 15 new contacts a week in market that are not cold. They're cultivated. You have some influence with them because you're a part of what they're a part of. Do you understand? Okay. So the fourth thing that I would do, okay, is I would get recruiting referrals from people. Okay? Recruiting referrals. So some of you call that STEAM. You know what STEAM is, right? Sales, teacher, enthusiastic, ambitious, motivated. But I would be on an appointment with people. Whether or not they were interested, I would always STEAM them. And I would get names and numbers of people to call. Okay? If you don't have that audio, go get that audio STEAM. It's out everywhere. You find it really easily, okay? But I would turn one appointment into 5 or 6 more appointments. And then I would call those people, and I'd set those appointments, right? And I would take those, and I would steam them, and I'd get 4 or 5, right? And I would take one person, a half hour at a time, and I would leverage that into 5 or 6 really good quality contacts. You understand? Okay? So I was working smart. I wanted to work through you, not try to randomly bump into you. I mean, how long would it take me to find those 5 people through random chance? I'd be working the rest of my life, or I spend a half hour and ask you specific questions, right? And I get there. I get the same result. It just takes me 30 years less. Okay? Right? 30 years less than some of your plans. Okay? Like sooner or later, I'm going to bump into this guy at Target with the card. I know it. He'll be here one of those days. Okay? So recruiting referrals, and then client referrals is my other one, right? So every client I saw, I'd say, hey, who do you care deeply about that you would hate to see their family devastated if something happened to them? Well, my cousin. Great. What's his name? What's his phone number? Well, I don't like to give referrals, but I thought you just said you didn't want to see his family devastated. Well, what if he had the same thing you had? Well, I guess you're right. Okay, great. I'm just going to call him, right? And every client that I was seeing, right, through these, I was getting more people from. So I would take the appointments and I would turn them into more appointments. So that was my 5 to stay alive. I was doing all 5 of those things every week regardless, right? But I just used them to keep a pipeline full, right? So if you do this, let's say you got 5 to 10 this way, 5 to 10 this way, that's great, okay? So here's some other options. Out and about prospecting can be one, okay? That's your cold market stuff. I do this. I never saw it as one of my 5 to stay alive, but I do it. I don't go prospecting, but I prospect where I go. Does this make sense? Right? I'm not like, hey, you 3, let's go to the mall. Right? Let's pick up some great guys from Twisty's Pretzels today, you know? Okay? But if I was at the mall getting something, I would talk to the person working there. So here's exactly what I would say. So here's the deal. If they're waiting on you, their life sucks. Remember this. If they're speaking with you as their job, their life sucks. No ands, ifs, or buts. If they're talking to you, it ain't good. Okay? It ain't good, right? You ever been waited on by a senior engineering manager for Chrysler? No. Okay, why? Because he's sitting in the big fancy office managing 500 engineers on a new project. He ain't out there at Twisty's Pretzels when you're hungry at 10:30 in the morning. Okay? Right? You understand? Okay? So here's what I would do. I would talk to the people that were waiting on me, and I would ask them this. You plan on doing this forever, or you keeping your options open? I wouldn't say, man, you got a nice smile, you got a great attitude, I think you're really sharp. None of that. Hey, you plan on doing this forever, or you keeping your options open? Kind of a little arrogant. Like, I'm here and you're here and I know it. Okay? So, and I'm not talking about them as human beings. I'm talking about their current socioeconomic status. You understand what I'm saying? It's different than who they are. For those of you who are like, I don't think I like this guy. He said some people were here and some people were here. I mean, listen, okay, if they're waiting on you, their life sucks. You're buying from them. They're getting the money. You're spending the money. There's a difference there, right? Okay? So I would talk to them and I'd say, hey, you plan on doing this forever? You keeping your options open? They always say what? Why? I'm keeping my options open. Why? Say, write down your name and number. I may have a chance to have one of my recruiters call you. They always give you the number. Always. The only time they don't is they say, well, what is it about? I say, well, it's not this. And if they don't give me the number then, I'm like, don't worry about it. Never mind. Well, what's it about? Never mind. Okay, so can you all do this? Can you all, hey, you plan on doing this forever? You keeping your options open? Well, I'm keeping my options open. Why? Write down your name and phone number. I might have an opportunity to have one of my recruiters give you a call. What's it about? It's not this. Great. Yep, and I give those names out. I don't even take them anymore. I show up in my office every week. I'm like, here, you take these guys, you take these guys, you take these guys. Right? If they're really sharp, I might call them. But I have piles of these numbers that I've never called. Piles of them. Okay? So if they ask you, you have a card? No. Write down your phone number. I'll have somebody get in contact with you. I never carry cards, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Nobody has ever called me off one of my business cards. Hey, I saw Primerica, I Googled it, used common sense, and I'd like to join you. I've never seen that happen. Right? I saw you were publicly traded. You have 75 million outstanding shares. I see your stock soaring right now. I'd like to be involved. I never seen that, right? So I'm going to play my odds there. Right? Okay? But let's say you did that 3 a day. So that's 21 a week. So you pick 5 of these, it's about 40, 50 people a week. That's 200 a month. That's 2,400 in a year. That's 24,000 people who gave you their names and numbers in a decade. How are you not going to find a few who do good at this kind of out of 24,000? That's like a small city. Nobody in the whole city could get their license and make a few sales. That doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, when you break it down like that, it's so simple. It's like, gosh, out of that many people, there's got to be somebody that was born to do this. There's somebody in there that was put on this planet to build this business. So are you going to do these things as a habit? Or are you going to do what most people do? As you get a little momentum going, you totally throw with reckless abandon all of your personal responsibilities out of the window. Like, I got this guy, he's taking me training, I'm going to totally stop prospecting, totally stop setting my own appointments. This is my guy, and 2 weeks later, you're like, my guy died, right? He's gone, and now you have nothing, right? Okay, every day you do these things. When you're training people, do you do these? When you're not training people, do you do these? Yes. When you start making money, do you do these? Yes. You do them until you're free. Okay? So how long does it take you to do this? Well, again, you were going to go to church anyways, so it really took you no time that you weren't already spending. Okay? This was an hour and a half at 7 in the morning, So the only thing you didn't do there was sleep, okay? This was during lunch. You were going to eat lunch anyway, so that's no additional time that you were spending. You were already on the recruiting appointments, so that was no additional time. You were already seeing clients, so how much additional time did that take you? 0, right? And if you were already out and about on your errands and it took you 1 extra minute 3 times a day, that's 3 minutes a day, right? So you're talking like 2 hours a week is what this takes you to run this process. 2, in addition to what you're already doing, but it'll change your business if you do it. And if you do it consistently. You can't do it sort of. You can't do it for a few days or a few weeks. You've got to get it as a habit, because remember, we don't create our destiny. We create our habits, and our habits create our destiny. Guys, listen, right? You keep all these in Jimmy's planner. Not in his physical planner, but in his daily planner. Yes, that's what I use. Jimmy, I have in my bookshelf in my office at home, I got a row about yay big of quarterly planners from the years 2008 to 2012, when I was really on my game doing this. Every quarter. And you know what I do when I need to get something going? I pull out one of them books and I look at the names. And there's hundreds and hundreds of names. I see what date it was. April 27th, 2011, I see the names I got that day. Right? And a little note next to them, what it was. And I look at the names, and I call the ones that jump out at me. Without fail, I'll get a couple of recruits and a couple of personal sales done within weeks of making those calls from those people that I haven't thought about since 2011. Right? Okay? So not only are you building a pipe now, but you're reserving a pipe for the future with all those people that might not have been ready then, you couldn't get a hold of then, it wasn't the right time then, right? But now it is. And you've got this data. I don't know how many thousands of people I have there. But there's thousands for sure. Thousands of people I ain't even thought about in years. But they're in there, how I met them, where I met them. I know they're probably the right sort of people because of how I would have gone about meeting them. Right? I'll just give them a call. Hey, this is Ian PRUKNER from Primerica. I don't know if you remember me, but we met so-and-so a couple of years back. I'm sure things are going really well for you, but man, I'm looking for people right now. I'm sure you're really happy doing what you're doing, making great money. You wouldn't be looking for anything else, but here's who I'm looking for. Would you mind letting me buy you a coffee? Right? And I can immediately get activity back pumped up through this. Everybody understand this? This is very basic, but most people aren't going to do it. Most people aren't going to do it. How are we doing on time here? Pretty good? 20 minutes. Okay, very good. So why don't we open it up to some questions on this? It's such a basic thing, and you ask anything you want about finding people and setting these structures up in your life. I'll be happy to answer whatever I can answer for you. 3 to 5 new names and numbers, right? So every day. So let's say today's not your B&I day. Did the 15 you got on B&I day count for today? No. You got to get them again through one of these ways, right? So what I would do is some days I'd get 3, some days I'd get 20. So now I didn't have 100 or 200, I had 300 or 400. Because the days that I got a bunch, I wasn't like, whoo, I'm done for 4 days. I got 15 today, which is what most of you would do, right? Like, oh, I got all that I needed for the week. I'm not going to prospect anybody. The problem is that derails the habit. You understand? That derails the habit. Now it's an action, and you've got to decide to act. I didn't trust myself to decide to act. Right? I quit everything I ever did before Primerica. I was okay at everything I ever was involved in before Primerica. I did not trust myself to make my own decision on a daily basis of whether or not I wanted to do this or would do what I needed to do. I needed to get habits to run my life for me so my success was ensured to me. That makes sense? Go. The open networking meetings. So he asked, what did I do to find the meetings? I would go to the Google. And I would search networking meetings, and then I would go to the things that popped up. I mean, it's very basic. I didn't care what they were. Now, I would find some were better than others. Okay? So I would go to them all, and I'd say, this is not the quality of people that I'm looking for. Let me remember not to go to that one again. Right? But some of them were really good. Some of them were really good. Like one of my top guys, he goes to it's called a Realtors Mastermind group. So it's put on by this guy that I know that runs a big title company in the area. So he puts it on for realtors because that's how he gets his business, right? Well, then some mortgage people started showing up because guess what the mortgage guys want? Real estate agents. Well, guess what my guy wants? Mortgage people and real estate agents. Why? Real estate agents get broker agent. Every home they sell, before it can go to closing, they get a commission check. What does that real estate agent's client need to obtain? Homeowner's insurance. They have to if there's a mortgage. Not they need to think about it. They can't do their deal without that being done. Do I care about homeowner's insurance? No. Right? What do you make? I don't even know what you make on homeowner's insurance. It's virtually zero. Okay? I don't know what it is. But the real estate agent understands that. Hey, Mike, listen, why don't you come on board? I don't know if it takes a license in Florida to do it. Does it take a license to do the PNC referral business here? Okay. In Michigan, they kind of it's this weird, bizarre, you don't need a license if you sell it through a downline. It's a bizarre structure, right? But I'm like, hey, Mike, listen, you're in real estate, right? Every home you sell, if it has a mortgage, what sort of insurance does that client need to get? He knows immediately, homeowner's insurance. So you're probably referring that out to people right now, right? What do they give you for that, Mike? Nothing, right? And how many real estate deals do you get from the homeowner's insurance guy? Like none, right? Because they're not calling you saying, hey, my guy just bought homeowner's insurance on a home he hasn't purchased. He needs you to find him one. He's on the wrong end of the deal. He's getting it when you already did your job, right? What if I could help you make $50 or $100 every single client you see just on auto and homeowners? They get brokered out of the best companies, not a violation of your RESPA Act, nothing, right? Okay? If I could help you do that, how many deals do you do a year? Well, I do 5 a month. Well, that's 60 a year. That's $6,000. That probably pays your office expenses, right? They're already doing it. I could help you do it. So I can recruit those guys. And I'm like, hey, who else do you know that we could do this? Same thing with mortgage guys. Before they can close a loan, the guy's got to get homeowner's insurance. Well, why not ask them if you're already asking about homeowner's insurance? By the way, do you have life insurance? Yes or no? One of the two questions. If yes, would you be open to having a competitive quote from a guy that saves my clients a lot of money? Yes or no? Yes, pass him to me. If you're licensed, we'll split the sale. You're already finding it. If no, have you ever considered about having life insurance? Who's going to pay for the mortgage if one of you passes away? Yeah, would you mind letting me have one of my guys call you? Right? And we'll split the comp on him. So one of my guys goes to this council of realtors, and he cleans up there. He recruits these guys right and left. Most of them don't do much, but every once in a while he gets one that's tired of running 60 hours a week, chasing money for 3 months, and then the deal goes backwards because the guy who was a week from closing went and got another credit card to buy Art Van furniture, and the deal goes pfft. They're tired of that, some of these guys, right? So that's how they find them. So how do you know which ones to go to? You just go to all of them and you figure out this one's working, this one's not working, but you go to them all. So I don't go to these very much anymore, but I have a reasonable size hierarchy in my area. Okay, I got a lot of people running around there. Okay, I don't see any of my guys at these. I'm like, where are you? I'm making $80,000 a month. You made $800 last month. Where are you? How come you're not here? I'm here, you're not here, right? Nobody will do this. Very few. There are 5 of you in this whole room that will do this consistently. Those 5 of you, you're going to be mega wealthy. You're going to build a huge hierarchy. The rest of you, you can use some of this to get a little further ahead than you are now. But if you commit to that process, it's going to be big. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So he's saying his wife's a fashion designer. Should they start their own B&I? I don't care who you start your B&I with, other than it doesn't make any sense for you to put people in the group that you already know, because they know people you already know one way or the other, whether they're not in the group, right? So you don't want to fill it up with your own contacts. Well, I know a guy here, I know a guy. That's wonderful, but they ain't useful to you. They already know you. They're going to refer you people anyways. Go get people you don't know you can build relationships with, okay? Absolutely. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so he's saying, what does the meeting look like when I go here? So if we got some time, I'll go through this. We got time? Okay, let me show you the mechanics of the meeting, okay? So this is how the phone call goes virtually always. When you've met somebody in a business networking arena, or you've called them to start a B&I, they're not interested in coming to the B&I, but they're willing to meet you. So you always use that verbiage, hey, I want to set a time to get together and chat with you about how you and I might be able to help each other grow our businesses. I think at a minimum, we may have a referral relationship. At a maximum, we could potentially help each other actively generate some revenue. So as far as us getting together, what works for you? So that's how I set the appointment. Hey, I met you at the networking event. I met you at the BNI. I met you at the Chamber of Commerce. Listen, I just wanted to set a time with you where you and I could chat maybe 20, 30 minutes over coffee about how we could help each other grow our businesses. I think at a minimum, Steve, we'll be able to pass referrals back and forth. At a maximum, potentially we could help each other generate some active revenue. So as far as us getting together, what's better, this or that? Okay, so I set the appointment. When I get on the appointment with Steve, okay, I'm saying the exact same thing. Steve, thank you for taking your time to meet today. Like I told you on the phone, I wanted to chat about how we could help each other grow our businesses, okay? And like I said, I think at a minimum we'll have a potential referral relationship. At a maximum, we might be able to actually actively help each other generate some revenue. So, and then here's the deal. This is the process. This is where you make or break this. 2 goals. So Steve, I have 2 goals for today's meeting. My first goal is I want to get to know more about you and your business so that I could find you a couple of really great quality referrals this week. Okay? So get to know more about you and your business so I could help you find a couple of really good quality referrals this week. Okay? I also want to give you a shot at earning my business. If what you do is of benefit to me, I'd like to give you an opportunity to earn that. Are you okay with that, Steve? What do you think Steve's saying? This is the greatest day of my life. This guy called me and wants me to sell him something, okay? So people ask me all the time, well, what, do you just buy stuff from people all the time? Absolutely not, right? But like, let's say I have a mortgage on my house. If you can save me 1% in interest and provide me value, that's a win for me and a win for you. You saved me money. You did a service for me that was helpful, and I helped you. Why not give you a shot? If you can't help me, I'm not going to move forward with you. Just like I wouldn't expect you to move forward with me if I can't help you, right? Okay? So I asked them that. So that's goal 1. So goal number 1 is I want to get to know a little bit more about you and your business so that I can help you find a couple of really good quality referrals this week. I'd also like to give you an opportunity at earning my business if what you do would benefit me. Are you okay with that, Steve? Steve says, sure. So what about the referrals? People say, well, who are you going to refer to them? Okay, so this is, again, remember what I said, you go to the networking meeting, you're looking for certain sorts of people. Realtors, mortgage, people that have something in common with your industry where there's some synergy there. Well, guess what? I might not be ready to sell my house and I'm sitting with Realtor Steve, but Realtor Steve doesn't necessarily care about my house. Realtor Steve wants to know mortgage guys. Because mortgage guys have clients that need realtors all the time. He does 1 deal with me, great. He does 10 deals a year with mortgage guy A, that's even better. So I know mortgage guy A, and I know this realtor Steve, so guess what I do? I connect him. Hey, you know Bill? No, I don't know Bill. Do you mind if I make a connection for you? He does about this much volume. I think you guys be a good fit. So I connect good people to other good people. So I don't necessarily need to be providing the end user of their service. I'm providing them referral partners. Do you understand? People that are more useful to them than I am. Okay? So the second goal that I have, Steve, is this. I'd like to educate you a little bit about what I'm doing and who I'm looking for so that you could give me a couple of good referrals this week. Steve, I'd also like to have an opportunity to earn your business if what I do benefits you. Are you okay with that? When he says yes, the deal's done. Sales made right there. I'd like to have an opportunity at earning your business if what I could do for you would provide value. Are you good with that? Yes. Okay, and then I run the appointment like this. I talk about them first, always. Why? Because when you're talking about them first, you're controlling the pace of the conversation. Okay? So you talk about them and you're making notes and you're looking for synergies. He's a carpet sales guy. I don't know why you picked him at the meeting, but you picked the carpet sales guy. Okay, you don't need any carpet. You know any builders? You know any commercial real estate agents? You know any residential real estate agents? You know any guys that own cleaning companies, damage restoration, and guess what all those guys need? A carpet guy. Guess what the carpet guy wants? He wants to put 800 square foot of carpet in your house, or he wants 5 deals a month from this guy? right? So I'm taking notes. Do you know so-and-so? Do you know so-and-so? Would you mind if I made a connection? Would you mind if I made a connection? Right? I asked him, well, Jehovah, tell me why you think you might be able to help me with my car. Well, is this, that, and the other? Okay, well, I'm not really looking for that right now, but if it's okay, I'm going to make you some introductions here for these people. Are you good with that? Great. So then I talk to them about what we do, okay? I talk to them about ownership, overrides, how our structure works, okay? And then I talk to them about our life insurance. And I just ask them, who does your life insurance? Let's say, well, I have it through so-and-so, and we'll cover this tomorrow. I'm going to go through exactly what to say on different insurance scenarios, okay? But I say this, I say, Jehovah, earlier in the meeting you told me you would be okay allowing me to have a shot at your business. I'm going to save you tens of thousands of dollars over the lifetime of your insurance needs. So I'd like to set another time with you to get together to review that. Okay? Great. And I book a time to go back and talk about what? His insurance. He told me at the beginning of the meeting he would give me a shot. I'm now asking for my shot, and I'm booking the appointment. So what I did is I took a business networking luncheon, and I turned it into a carry-back close. Right? Multiple times a week. Okay? So you write 10,000 personal every month like this. Every month. If you do this. Why? Because you've got a constant flow of people and you're following the process. The process is you call them, I want to talk to you about helping each other grow our businesses. You sit with them, you say the same thing. I have 2 goals for today's meeting. Goal number 1 is I want to learn about you, help you find referrals. I'd like to give you a shot at earning my business. Goal number 2 is I want you to learn about my business, and I'd like to take a shot at earning your business. Is that fair? Yes, great. Talk about them, talk about what you want. Ask them for an appointment to go and talk about their life insurance. At that point, it's done. Game over. You could do this all day, daytime activity. It's super easy. They keep their appointments. They're reasonable people. If you can provide them value, generally they move forward with you. They're big cases. They've got good, solid quality of business. Everybody understand that? Okay.
Now, are you getting back to the spouse for the carryback?
Generally, no. So he's asking, are you going back to the spouse? The answer is generally no. Why? They're a business guy. They make decisions all on their own every day, all day, right? So I'm going to write them up, and when I deliver the policy, what am I getting? I'm getting the spouse. When I deliver the policy, I'm getting the spouse, right? Spouse doesn't know me. Spouse doesn't even care to know me, right? I'm some guy that he met at a networking lunch or she met at a networking lunch. They don't care about me, right? But I'm going to go, and they make decisions without the other person. End of story. They make them all day long. It's very basic. Almost never are they like, well, I need to talk to my wife. Virtually never. I could probably count on my left hand the amount of times a business person told me that. Normally they're like, yeah, this makes sense. Let's go ahead. Right? Great question. Any other questions on this? Outside the office, like in terms of my office, I'm generally meeting them at their office. The coffee is, I don't ever bring them to my office. So he's asking, do you meet them at the office? I meet them at their office or a coffee spot. I don't meet them at restaurants. Why? You'll go broke that way real quick. Right? Okay, because some of these guys have expensive taste. Right? Yeah, so you blow $50 a day, 6 days a week. Now you got a Mercedes S-Class payment on lunch for people that may not do anything with you, right? So coffees. Any other questions? I'll get you next.
When you're at BNI, I just recently joined one like 2 weeks ago. When you're at BNI and you got a lot of the cars coming in and they don't become members, you meet with all of them?
Everybody. So he's saying when you're at BNI and you got a bunch of the people coming in to check out the group that don't become members, do you meet with them? Yes. I meet with every human being that walks into that group. Every human being. Yep. Okay, STEAM, that's a topic for another conversation. There's a whole audio on it. Ask anybody around you. They'll be able to get you that. Where do you do the BNI meetings at? Anywhere that will allow you to do them. So I would start them in my office, but back when I was starting groups, I had a small office. You'll see pictures of it tonight, okay? And we just couldn't fit more than 10 or 15 people in. But these guys are all business guys, right? They're all resourceful. Somebody knows somebody who's got a space we can use. Yeah, for free, cost 0. Hey, why don't we do it at my office? I got a few extra 1,000 square feet. Why don't we do it at this hotel, right? We did one at a hotel for free forever because the guy owned a PEO and all the staff people were on his payroll. So they're just like, hey, let's go ahead and do that. Some of the biggest deals I ever got in my life came through that guy. I got, no joke, I got 3 different deals through that guy and my B&I where they were paying more than $40,000 a year for their term insurance from us. These were $5, $10 million policies on 50, 60-year-old guys that, because this guy was doing deals. He was a mover, right? And he loved what we did. He actually got his license. He was a CPA, got his license with me. Dude probably made $15,000 a year part-time with me for 3 years, never did a deal himself. He'd just refer me the deal, I'd split him on it. They were Mongo deals. And they were easy. Like, hey, this guy told me to do it, I'm going to do it. He's running their entire company's HR and benefits. Like, what? You know, this is some CEO. The CEO has no idea what he's doing. He says, hey, this guy said I needed to do this. Perfect.
When you start the B&I group, you end up recruiting somebody that you interviewed, what have you, recruit that person. You have them now. They were a part of your B&I group. They just started their own B&I group.
That's a good question. So B&I hates recruiting. They can't stand it, so you got to kind of keep it on the down low. So when you recruit somebody in your B&I, you say, you never say anything about this to anybody, or they'll kick you out of them groups like fast. Oh, yeah. They have like a zero tolerance on recruiting people in the group. Yep. So if you recruit them in the group, you say, hey, look, you never say anything about this to anybody else in the group. Yeah, because otherwise they'll boot you, because they have a no recruiting policy in there. So you can never talk, during the group, you can never talk about recruiting. You get a 60-second commercial every week. You can't say, I'm looking for great people that are, it's got to all be product focused. Now on the one-on-ones, I always would talk about recruiting. And a handful of them would be interested. My number one securities guy in my business was an advertising, he owned an advertising company, met him at a B&I group, showed up at a visitor's day at my B&I group. And now he's been full-time with me for a number of years. So I would always recruit, but you just got to be below the radar. So I wouldn't have them like go start their own group. I'd have them stay in the group as whatever they were doing before until they were full-time, and then I would have them go and start a different group. It's a great question. Going once, going twice. Can I do a 60-second commercial for you? There's different ones all the time. So I would find, remember, it's product-driven, so I would always find a unique thing about our product. So I'd stand up, I'd say, hey, today, my name's Ian PRUKNER with Primerica Life. Today my ask is for your cousin who's in the military. Primerica will provide life insurance for active duty military personnel. We're the only company that will do it. We'll insure them for up to $400,000. We have no active war clause. No matter how they die, we're going to pay. I'd like an introduction to your cousin who's in the armed services, Ian PRUKNER with Primerica Life, because you still want your family to love you after you die. And then I would sit down. That was my tagline, right? Okay? So that's what I would do, right? Or I would say, today my ask is for your uncle who's diabetic, because diabetics have a very hard time getting life insurance, but Primerica can actually insure type 1 and type 2 diabetics for reasonable rates and guarantee them insurable till their age 100 on term insurance. So I'd like an introduction today to your uncle that has this. And 1 or 2 people in the group have an uncle who has diabetes, and they're like, well, I get points for referring this guy to somebody. So they get them done. So I would always be looking for niches, nuances that would stand us out. Okay? Today I'm asking for anybody that you know that's in your kid's Cub Scout troop that has life insurance, that has a savings component. And I would show this 60 Minutes video just came out investigating 25 life insurance companies who sell this product because they're doing this and this and that, and if they have it, it's a bad deal and we can help them get out. I'd like an introduction today to the person in your Boy Scout troop that has that. Every week I'd have something a little different. So where did you come up with this? I use my brain, and I would think about what makes us unique and what might jog somebody's memory. Because I see them every week, 50 weeks of the year, right? So I got time to keep hitting these guys with this thing or that thing over and over again. I think we're out of time. This is a little different than normal school, right? But I hope that it's beneficial to you. You can take some of these things and actually use them to start getting great results, right? So we'll see you back later this afternoon.
The proceeding was a production of PFSmedia.com. The views and opinions expressed were those of the speaker presented and not necessarily those of Primerica. It is intended for training purposes only and may not be distributed to the public.